Hello, friends. My name is Host Eric. I'm the host of Talking with Famous People, and I'd like to thank you 39 times for joining me tonight on this, what can only be called a true adventure of learning. What are we going to learn about tonight? We're going to learn about the secret truth behind secrecy, truth, and the. Now, I was a little prepared, because what didn't I do before I got this thing started? Well, I'll tell you what I didn't do. I didn't make a new pot of coffee yet, which I want to do. Because new pots of coffee are a lot like new pots of love. Important. So, anyway, if you like new pots of love every Tuesday, then you're gonna love my new business entitled New Pots of Love, in which, as you might imagine, I provide you new pots of love on a daily basis, ensuring that you never run out of love until it's too late, at which point, fine, you'll run out of love. You never deserved it in the first place. Clearly you didn't, so. That's fair of me. It's fair of me to say that. Because you definitely didn't deserve it. Which really is not my point here today. It's not the point I'm trying to make. I mean, sure, it's similar to the point I'm trying to make, in that it's completely dissimilar from the point I'm trying to make. But beyond that, it's important. It's important, like, I don't know, like rice to a Chinaman. There's a nice simple, inoffensive way of saying it. I like my expressions like my women, simple and inoffensive. Eric, that's offensive in and of itself. But you know what's not offensive? A wonderful kitty. Oh, yes. You're a wonderful kitty, and Daddy loves you. Your father loves you with his emotional heart. Hi, Boba Fett. Hi, Bogdan Rajkovic. Happy Serbia Day to you. I hear today's International Serbia Day, where everyone goes, Serbia, hooray! Oh, kitty, are you celebrating National Serbia Day? Or are they calling it International Serbia Day? Alien 60, hello. It's a joy and a pleasure. A thrill and an ointment to see you here today. It's a thrilling ointment, is what it is. I'll turn off the background noise there. The media source was, audio was on. That was my bad. So anyway, Kitty and I are here today to raise awareness about YouTube-related illnesses, such as getting fussy, feeling like maybe I should live stream some more, putting off going to bed, loving your kitty, wonderful, wonderful kitty, having wonderful times, always petting your fur, making sure you're petted fine. Wonderful, wonderful kitty, fabulous and true. And you know, wonderful kitty, I love you. No, I didn't start playing WoW. That's my daughter who was playing it. I said to her, hey, you know what might be fun, since you like to play this video game entitled World of Warcraft. Perhaps what might be fun would be if you were to play it and I would explain what's going on as you're playing it, you know. That was the idea. Of course, it ended up being more of a conversation as she was playing it, less of me commentating what she was doing. But that was fine because we had this incredibly serendipitous moment where she's been trying to find this thing called a sky shard for a long time. She was at 9, she needed 10 of them. And she's like, okay, well, I gotta go in 15 minutes. You know, anybody have any requests before I go about where I go or what I do in the game? And I said, find a sky shard, kind of jokingly, you know, because she'd already made it clear enough that those things were very difficult to find. And she said, I don't think I'm gonna be able to find that right now in 15 minutes, Dad. And I said, okay, well, I'll do some magic to make it happen. And like the second I finished that sentence, she's like, oh my God! And she found it. I did a 2-minute clip of it. You can look at the video. It's called like Delilah's Magical Wow Moment. It's pretty cool to catch it on camera because it's the first time I'd ever tried this idea of streaming her playing a game, you know? Somebody in a comment said, you know, got him in the feels. It kind of gets me in the feels too, you know. It's like it's a weird kind of family moment, I guess you could say. It's a family moment, like a family blomoment. There, that's better. Don't you think so? I think so. I think it's better like that, with this big tree over here. What do you think, Kitty? Do you agree with me? So, it's Serbia USA Unison Day. Alright, cool. Well. Yeah, fist bump. Serbia USA. You live in Serbia, I live in suburbia. We're this close to living in the same place. You know? This close. I was just enjoying CJ O'Connell's stream a little while ago. And she's an ESTP Alien 60. And that was enjoyable. Well, guess who was there, though, of course? Because they're not here. Hermes Pimp and Bobby Brown. What were they doing? Starting the same shit they started over there. Well, Bobby Brown was anyway. So anyway, I should mention that I realized the person I was thinking of was never Bobby Brown in the first place, the domestic violence guy. I was thinking of Chris Brown. Isn't that ironic? Hi, Trouble Bubble. You want some food? Alright, well, I'm going to give you some of this new Maine Coon food. Here. You don't like that food, huh? You're just spoiled, kitty. You're as spoiled as Veruca Salt. Here you go, Bubble. Put it up here. As spoiled as Veruca Salt is very spoiled. Why? Because Veruca Salt is the girl who says, I want it now, Daddy! I want it now! She's very spoiled. But I want it now! But I want it now is a good sentence in general. Hi, Raphael. Archangel of the heavens, bringer of the fiery sword of truth, when Michael's on break anyway. So what's about that comment about INTPs? What comment about INTPs? The INTPs should do as they please? What did I say about INTPs? Actually, you're not from Serbia, from an opposite state? What's the opposite state of Serbia? Herzegovina? Bosnia? The opposite of Serbia is Estonia. I'm not Serbian, I'm Estonian. That's like the complete opposite. This is the view from my street outside my house towards the mountains. Looking towards the mountains. Refresh my memory a little bit more. It's right on the tip of my remembering. I said, yeah, ask me next stream or something where it's a long question or a complicated question. Remember that, but I don't remember what the question was. Was it, how can I fit more sausages in my pants? Oh, is the opposite of Serbian Albanian? So, if that's the case, then Serbian hats make your head look like a vagina? Oh, Montenegro. Translates literally to Mountain of Negroes. Strange name for a country, but I'm all for it. Oh, you want the chat window? Oh, you want the chat window, huh? You want to see yourself chatting. You want to touch your chat with your finger. There, Rain. I hope that diminishes your level of disgust a little bit. What about INTPs? What they should look for in the other partner to trust them? Oh, right. Well, I mean, I guess what would be a red flag is if a person pushes forward an action before the INTPs had sufficient time to deliberate about it. So if you wanted to, if you wanted to evaluate each like partner's basic trust flag as a the other person either demonstrating their version of your seventh function in a way that is sort of openly I come in peace, or the red flag one would be demonstrating it in a way that negates your dominant function. So for me, it might be as simple as I say some ideas. If the other person says, I like those ideas, then that's a green flag. And if they say, I don't like those ideas, then that's a red flag. But for an INTP, it would be, if they say, don't worry, I won't do anything until you've had plenty of time to think about it, and then they follow through on not doing anything so you have plenty of time to think about it, that's a green flag. And if they pressure you to make a decision before you're done thinking about it, that's a red flag. So like if for an INFJ, if a person uses TE to invalidate their NI, which would basically be like, here's an NI observation. Yeah, but that's not how we do it here. Here are the protocols. Just follow the protocols. If they somehow did that in the relationship, that would be a red flag. Whereas the phone thing that Rachel was talking about would be a green flag. Hi, Rachel Gerard. And just for those who aren't aware of what I'm referring to, the phone thing she was saying is that if a perspective, like a new prospective partner, is very free and transparent with their phone, in other words, doesn't lets the other person know the passcode, doesn't have any problem with them looking at their phone and stuff, then she sees that as a green flag. Like ENFPs, I guess, they'd want to make sure that if a person negated their ideas on logical grounds, that would be a red flag. And if a person allowed them to continue ideating regardless of logical inconsistencies, that would be a green flag. For an INTJ, it would be like, if the INTJ has a clear vision, NI vision about something, and the partner goes, yeah, but that's not going to play well, that's a red flag. Whereas, if they say, here, let me help you express this truth to those people in a way that makes it more palatable to them, then that would be a green flag, potentially. Yeah, I don't have anything to hide in my phone either. I'm not having secret conversations at any point. Rachel knows about everything I do, whatever it is, which is, not a whole hell of a lot. It's not like there's a lot to keep up on. I just hang out here with her and either do talking with famous people stuff or watch TV or watch whatever, Earlier we were watching some Olympics. We were watching that event where they ski, cross-country ski. I think it's called Nordic Combined, I believe. But they cross-country ski for a while. Then they have to stop, and then they have to shoot these targets. And sometimes they have to lie down and shoot the targets, and sometimes they have to stand up and shoot the targets. It's kind of a weird event. It's like, I compared it to, if in horse racing, in the middle of the horse race, the jockeys had to get off their horses and compete at bowling. and get back on the horses and finish the horse race. It seems strange, you know. Although I would definitely go see that horse race bowling combo event. Just for the novelty of it. You know what? Why not make the horses bowl too? It could be a partnership bowling thing. The jockeys and the horses both have to bowl 3 frames. Recently, you've watched the actualization of an ENTP in a show. What show? Is it called Talking with Fan People? Why, thank you. I feel so actualized. It's like before I was just pretend, but now I'm actual. Oh wait, it wasn't this show? It was something else? You mean a fictional ENTP? Gosh darn those fictional ENTPs outpacing me in ontological development. I gotta do something about that. Oh yeah, what's it called? ENTPs, touch your tenders, and you'll know the true feeling of Christmas. Paranoia agent, huh? I'll have to check it out. I've also been instructed to check out Ex Machina, the movie that's supposedly very good. It's on my list of things to look at. Oh, I gotta get one of these things. So anyway, so very much to discuss. So very much to comment upon. And one of those things I want to discuss and comment upon is CJ O'Connell's stream. CJ is a very natural streamer. You know, I was there in the chat having a good time for a little while. But, well, Oliver Linehand, that's perfectly reasonable. But you know what? I'm going to fulfill all of those needs by myself. But it's just the sheer force of the delightful, charming character that is host Eric is going to accomplish all of that for you. Just with me. It's just going to be Eric versus Eric. Drama. Eric talking to Eric. Jokes. Eric shaming and belittling Oliver until he cries. Eric filling Oliver's heart with joy when Oliver realizes he was just joking. And I'm going to liberate your spirit from the shackles of the lies that constrain it currently. All of that and more. I promise everyone everything. I guarantee it. Or I will literally give you your time back. You'll receive a check for however many minutes you were here, which you can cash at the end of your life to add those extra minutes on at that point. So when the Grim Reaper shows up to collect your soul, you say, hold on here, I've got a check for 1 hour and 45 minutes. And I go, okay, fine. And then he'll subtract the hour and 45 minutes from my time bank account. If I'm already dead, well, then I just got it for free, basically, you know. It just means I have to clean up trash one afternoon in purgatory. Try the show I mentioned. It will challenge you on every level. It'll make you paranoid. It'll give you agency. It'll turn you into a real estate agent. It'll make you more interested in the paranormal. And it'll turn you into a fan of the little remembered Domino's icon, the Noid. Oh boy. So anyway, like I was saying, CJ is a very natural seeming streamer. He's very comfortable with the process, very appealing in his general blandness, chillness, you know. And he was hitting 12 hours for that stream. He'd been streaming for 12 hours, so good for him. You know, it's a marathon. It's a marathon of streamage. Keeping in mind, come at the beginning of March, I'm going to be doing a marathon of streamage called World Record 40 Hours Continuous Freestyle. Yes, that's right, 40 straight hours of freestyling. Now, I don't imagine anybody's going to listen to all 40 hours of it. But the point is, I'm going to get a world record. That's pretty much the same thing as winning an Olympic gold record, or Olympic gold medal. Kind of more important. So, they should probably put me on the Wheaties box after I'm done with it. I can claim that the reason I was able to freestyle for 40 hours straight was because of the Wheaties, but really it would be because of the amphetamines. Those help a lot in terms of, you know, endurance for things like that. And I spent the whole time freestyling like super terrible like this. I am a guy. That is no lie. I like some pie. Look at the sky. Well, I never said it would be good. God, everybody wants everything. Stop challenging me on every level. Level 4 is a level you're not supposed to challenge. Okay, Alien 60, that's why there's signs up everywhere, all over level 4. Please do not challenge this level. It reminds me of the problems that we had with Pocahontas, because, you know, I'm trying to explain to her, Mauve doesn't dance. I don't care how much you say you're going to dance with all the colors of the wind. Mauve does not dance. Yeah, that's too much stream to consume all at once, Oliver Linehan. Oh my God. I hate being challenged conceptually. Then all of a sudden I cease to believe in my own existence. I'm like, am I even a concept? I don't think so. I must not exist. Then of course I always run the risk of popping into non-existence, because whatever you believe hard enough becomes true. That's why you see me slowly turning into a young Denzel Washington. Because that's who I believe I am. I'm a young Denzel Washington, but I've got the ass of Jennifer Lopez. I've got a very womanly ass. You want to do because you can, and no one probably done it before, very Annie-ish. What, the world record thing? Well, I think it might actually successfully attract a certain amount of attention, for one thing. I mean, there's not much. There are very few things in the world I can confidently think to myself, I could get the world record in that. It actually has a world record. Very few things I can think of, if any, except for that. I know I can do that. That's not that hard. Well, I mean, I've already started to eat for it, so to speak. I set up a bunch of beats in a folder to switch between, and I already have a toilet out here. I'm gonna have to get food and drink set up, and I'll probably put up the scheduled stream, which will announce it's going to occur maybe a week before it happens, maybe 2 weeks before it happens, I don't know, which is about now. Now it's about 2 weeks before it happens. As far as making it an official world record, like contacting Guinness Book of World Records or whatever, I guess I don't really care about that very much. But probably I'll do it, or look into it, or ask Winston's mom to help me with it, if she's willing to. Regardless, I know what the world record currently is, and I know I can do it for longer than that, and it'll be on video the whole time, so there shouldn't be any problem with me, like, reporting it to them after the fact, I guess. Make a visit to a doctor before? Why would I mean, I'm gonna I'll get my Adderall, I'll pick up my Adderall before I do it. You mean, make sure you're healthy enough or something? Oh, please. That's silly. I mean, look, I've got it set up out here that I can pee, poo, eat, whatever, while continuing the freestyle, just not have the camera on me when I'm doing those things, obviously. And we've got this little portable toilet here. I'll have the bag insert thing that we normally don't use in it, and then I'll be able to remove the poop, bag it, double bag it, put it in a trash can outside, and not have to deal with that grossness, you know. All while freestyling. Heart stuff. I mean, I frequently stay up 40 hours doing shit for long stretches of the time. It's just, there's nothing particularly strenuous about freestyling for 40 hours. Obviously, there's still a little bit of a cardiovascular thing if you're going super hard, but you can always pace down and go single time instead of double time or something for a stretch. You know, it's like there's a lot of flexibility there. I'm very comfortable doing it, so it's not like it's and I'm going for the record in terms of duration. It'll be fun and easy. I'll just start telling long stories about whatever and see where they go. And so, it'll be fun for a few hours. Oh, I mean, I will. I'll be up and down. I'll spend some of the time sitting. I'll spend some of the time walking around. I mean, I did 4 hours the other day, and I spent some of the time sitting, some of the time standing. So I mean, the hardest thing to do, the hardest thing to incorporate into it, harder than eating, certainly harder than drinking, harder than peeing, probably harder than pooing, I'm sure, is smoking. Smoking's hard to incorporate into it because it's hard to get a good bong rip, for example, without pausing for too long. So I'll probably end up smoking a lot less during those 40 hours than I normally do, both cigarettes and bong rips. I mean, the thing is, it doesn't sound especially hard to me. It doesn't sound especially, like a marathon or anything. It sounds like a couple of really thwacked out days, That'll go by fast enough. I'll be doing what I feel like, and I'll have a good justifiable reason to continue just freestyling for 40 hours. And nobody will be able to say, okay, Eric, stop. We've heard enough of this already, because the point of it is to go that whole amount of time. So it's kind of nice. It's like I'm free to ultra indulge myself in something that I find fundamentally self-indulgent, and I feel gratified when anybody's willing to listen to it at all, frankly. And so I'll be able to just really wallow in it, What's the cognitive function that makes you do such a decision? Well, in this case, it's not just a cognitive function thing. It's like I'm both extroverted intuition, so function-wise designed to do freestyly stuff, and very practiced at it, and a musician, and I have lots and lots of beats and stuff already made, and I didn't realize, I just learned about the record, not that long ago, and didn't realize it was as short as it is. I never thought about it before. I know I can do this particular thing, and it's like a legit world record. It's not like totally bullshit kind of a thing, right? So I guess it's a unique confluence of things. I'm a YouTuber already who streams, and yeah. So the whole process in this instance it's really a perfect storm of a bunch of different factors that the catalyst for it ultimately was hearing about or learning somehow about the fact that there was this world record that existed already about how the longest freestyle ever or something. So it's all those things combined that make me much more serious about following through on this plan, and much more certain right away that I am going to follow through on it, and that I'm not going to talk myself out of doing it by saying I'm going to do it or anything like that, because it just feels so, well, it feels very self-indulgent. It's easy to commit to things that feel very self-indulgent. It's like, I would love it if I could, whenever I felt like it, just start streaming and just live stream for a couple of hours where I'm just freestyling and nobody complain. Everyone be like, that's fantastic, we love just listening to you freestyle for hours. That's just not reality, right? It's like, it's boring. You don't want to listen to somebody freestyling for hours. Who does? I don't. Even if they're really good at it, it's not the same thing as listening to songs. It's like listening to a jam band or something, right? I mean, of course I'm actually freestyling Alien 60. How could one possibly prepare 40 hours of material? I don't have any rhymes in my head ahead of time or anything like that. I don't have a book where I write down rhymes and things like that. I'm just naturally very comfortable doing it, right? If you're saying like, well, people need to throw out words to you the whole time, I mean, I can do that. I'm not that practiced at that, but I certainly could do it. The only time I ever write anything rap-wise is if I have a beat in place in a song and I want it to comprise a rap. I want to write a rapping part for the song that goes specifically to the beat. Then I'll tend to write rap stuff, but that's a totally different process, totally unrelated to freestyling for me, anyway. It's funny because I think this is the second time I've heard you say like actual off the top of your head freestyling. I mean, I can't even conceive of trying to do it any other way. I don't have anything in mind when I start going at all. Okay. Put that on the old speaker headphone. Come over here. I'm going to put this on the old speaker headphone. Well, yeah, it has a definition you can deviate from. That's to say, if you have prepared material, you start repeating yourself, right? With the same lines, the same rhymes, same couplets or whatever, then obviously you've got some stuff memorized, and that wouldn't count. But there's no even way you can prepare to memorize for something like this if you're going 40 hours, I'm not gonna die, Alien 60. Why, oh, why would I die? I'm not 60, I'm 50, not even 55. I'm still alive, I'm gonna live till I'm 95. I'm gonna live until I die, not soon. I'm gonna live till tomorrow noon, and then beyond that, until it soon past the time when I've completed this task. And I've got the world record in my hand, and you ask, how did you do it, Eric? I'll say, well, I didn't concern myself about this stuff where I might be in danger because of my health. Instead, I just rapped a bunch of things when the beat came on and everybody said, ring me this bell, ring it again. It's the bell called freestyle then, and you can do it just like me if you are also dominant in E. It helps to be an ENTP with the NETI and with also the music lie. Musically, music B. It's the music me, musically trained as a youth in a choir. Helped a little bit, I suppose. It's a down to the wire kind of race. Whether I could do this, it's a face. No, it's not a face. You are a bird and will fly for 40 hours. I'm not a bird, but I can be dour about this prospect if I wanted to. But I don't want to be dour. That would be poo. Instead, I'll be impressed. I'll be excited. It's a test to see if I'm delighted. It's a test to see if I can fight it off. This stopping is freestyling long enough to put at the world record in this task. Freestyling all the time, freestyling my ass off till the end of the rhyme, and then we'll discover whether I'm freestyling fine enough to make the record. Could I persist for another 140 years? I guess, I bet. I don't think maybe quite that long though, perhaps, because my voice would go out before that, in fact. So I was like, what do you mean by off the top of your head? That's not freestyling. What is it? You know, that's not off the top of my head. Did I write it in a book? Is it something that I read to you out loud? Did I prepare it before we started the Visual on the Beat? No, I didn't. That would be meat in a bullshit sandwich that I wouldn't want to eat because it ain't very true. It's not neat either because it's mean and untrue and tells a liar about me and you. I didn't plan this, dude. It comes out of me like rude remarks do to people who don't deserve them often, and then I feel guilt like, gosh, you're a terrible person. So sometimes my freestyling is kind of shitty. That's what you get when you make it up as you go along. Gritty, kind of rough, and not necessarily enough to make it worth turning into a formal song. It would be earthen instead that a plant would grow and not the plant itself because it's not good enough. It's not good enough to generate wealth as a song by itself. It doesn't really have a structure. It has no nelf. What's an elf, you might ask? An elf is a quick way of saying a northern elf, which is the sort of elf that would assist you in gathering wealth from your music if you wanted to. Peek-a-deek-a-deek-a-deek-a-deek-a-doo. You know what you do? I will get you any fuel. What about depression and cognitive function? Do it affect typing someone? I don't think depression affects how I type them because it's an affect or an expression, and it wouldn't defy them or deny them the capacity to demonstrate to me their ability intentionally to agree with whatever sort of problem I send their way. It would be an effective way to say, I don't know, test the TI wouldn't be affected at all if they were sad, happy, tall, fat, short, and small. Even if they were inside a wall, they could still do the TI the same, y'all. Some other psychological problems might be a problem, I suppose, like if you had, I don't know, no brain inside of your head, or if you had some toes in there instead, that wouldn't work. I wouldn't know what to make of it. I'd say, where's your head, where's your brain instead of these toes that are inside your head? What can I ask them? They don't talk, they just tickle me like a little cock. It's on your foot. Like a little cock on my foot. That is my toe. What do you think? Take a look. The little cock on my foot. It's my toe. What do you think? Other psychological problems. What are some other psychological problems? Like having no brain? Besides that, Eric, that's the same as the last psychological problem you named. Okay, well then, what What kind of psychological problems are we talking about, man? Are we talking BPD? Are we talking ADHD? Are we talking autism spectrum? See, it's a lot of bullshit in there, but gee, not everything's bullshit. Like bipolar mania isn't bullshit, or schizophrenia, that's not bullshit. Nor is a several other type of things, like perhaps, I don't know, affective disorder or some sort of trust-based disorder that comes from childhood trauma in the wardrobe. It's a sword, though, to the soul that defeats the purpose of the person who would grow into a normal human otherwise, if it weren't for the to and fro of the abuse side. People who in their lives, just from childhood, necessarily arrives into adulthood with broken reality. Their map's all wrong, you see. They never learned to trust you or me. They got BPD. BPD, borderline personality disorder. Oh yeah, come on baby, and touch me in my borderline personality disorder. You call it Narnia, I call it child abuse. Listen up here, mama. Listen here, mama, I do not think beating me with your shoe is taking me on a trip to Narnia through the wardrobe. See, there ain't no line which or anybody but you and me being beaten by a shoe. I don't call that Narnia, it's child abuse. And then you hit me with your shoe and say, you got to freestyle better or I'll hit you with my shoe and my sweater. And I say, your sweater won't hurt me at all. And she says, you don't understand. It's made out of tall trees, tall bees, lots of rocks and knees. Hard things that'll make you displeased about your physical condition. And geez, you'll start to wheeze because I'll make you inhale these pollens. I said, Mom, is that all then? And she said, no. I got some more shit in store. That's pretty good stuff right there. It's called Eric's Humorous Child Abuse Freestyle. Great source of jokes. Yeah. Everybody loves laughing about child abuse. Everybody loves laughing about it. Everybody loves laughing about child abuse. Everybody loves laughing about it. Ooh, tell more of your child abuse jokes, Eric. Everybody loves laughing at those. Are you sure everyone loves laughing at them? Oh, I'm sure, says Evil Ben, who doesn't tell me the truth about the things he's see and you're seeing. Am I okay with test ideas, Eric? Is it okay that you're not an expert? Oh, God, no. You need to pass the Eric's expert test first. Okay, question number 1. What are the first 2 letters of expert? The answer, E and X. How many syllables does expert have? The answer is 2. What is the second syllable of expert? The answer is pert. What is something else that we often call pert? The answer is boobs. If you got all those questions correct, then dude, you are certainly an expert too. Yeah, expert time. We can both be experts. Yeah, we know what a pert. We know what's pert. It's not just a shirt. Not just a squirt of shampoo in your hair. What is pert? What is pert? What's pert? Your boobs is pert. That's what's pert. Bert. I can't believe your parents named you Bert. Because you're a sexy, sexy girl underneath that shirt. And your boobs are pert. I'm surprised your name is Bert. What? It's short for Bertnice? Bertnice isn't a girl's name, jeez. I have a niece, her name is Bernice, but there's nobody in the world named Bertnice but D. See? Well, I'm sorry, but my name is Bertnice, and I call myself Bert. Yes, this is my dog Ernie, of course. And we live here at first base. This isn't first base. Yes, it is, on a giant metaphorical baseball diamond in my imagination. That's where we live. Okay, your ex. What about my ex? What about her? Which ex you talking about? Are you talking about Kimberly, that ex? Are you talking about Candice? She's another ex. Are you talking about Melinda? She was my first ex-wife that I had before Candice and Kimberly were also kind of equivalent to those people. I also have my first girlfriend, Chrisley. She's an ex, I suppose. There's that lady I was with between me and, well, there's Capito, who's not really an ex, but a former fling. And then I got also that girl who I was kind of doing that thing with. It was not really very appropriate, really. And her name was Cooter. Yeah, I shit you not. Her name was Cooter. Yeah, like the cooter between her legs. Her name was Cooter. What about phrasing some words that suggest some context or meaning and the patient have to find the context? I mean, I kind of do that with the prospector question. Like, there's an old guy, he's got some possum pants, and he's got a burro and a floppy hat, and he's got a pickaxe in his hand, and he's walking into the mountains, man. What do you think he is? And the answer is old prospector. But somebody might say chef, because you see he's got some pops and pans. They might fixate on that, I guess. Perhaps they'll say he's a Mexican, because he's got a burro. They'll miss the larger picture there, see. He's a prospector, though. Dig body, amputation, crime. Dig body, amputation, crime. So wait, you give the words dig body amputation, and then the answer is crime? I don't derive crime from dig body amputation. Dig body amputation, that makes me think about, I don't know, let's see, perhaps a post-mortem exhuming of a corpse for coroner's purposes? I guess it would imply some sort of criminal investigation, but it doesn't make me think of crime. It makes me think of exhumation. Right? That makes me think of exhumation. After all, there's digging. There's a body and an amputation, which means some action's taken on the body after it's dug out to the ground, which means it's been exhumed. It's been exhumed, motherfucker. Exhume me after I'm dead. Sit me at the desk next to Red Fox's body, which you also exhumed. Exhume Red Fox, then exhume me. We'll put us next to an exhumed body, Abraham Lincoln, and we'll put also Jesus' exhumed body there, and we'll sit us four in chairs next to Mount Rushmore there, looking at it as though we were staring up and evaluating it, critiquing it for a paper like the Washington Post. Dig body amputation. What else? What do you think the NI of dig body amputation is? Do you think it's something other than what I say it is? Why? That's silly. Dig body amputation. Let's see, if you dig body amputation, you're into mayhem? By the legal definition? Maybe that's the NI answer, mayhem. I dig amputating people's limbs. Oh, well, that means you dig committing the crime of mayhem. How much mayhem can you fit in your hay, men? Is a question I used to ask my employees all the time when I was a farmer. They'd always say 0. I'd say just as well, since it's criminal. Yeah, I mean, I think that's testing NI. Well, okay, my point is your thing that the NI conclusion for dig body amputation is crime? Because I don't think that's correct. I don't think that an NI person, most NI people would say, that's the natural and obvious conclusion to draw about those 3 words together. Dig body amputation, crime. I mean, I think I get what you're getting at, but I don't think that's a very good example of it. Like, if you were to put table, incision, sterile. Table, incision, sterile. That suggests what? NI people in the house, NI users in the house, whether it's back slot or front slot or whatever. What does table, incision, sterile NI suggest? Legally, mayhem means like something like if you cut off somebody's arm or whatever. No, Dulles, not turducken. That's extroverted intuition. Table, incision, sterile. What does that suggest? Yeah, I was going to say surgery, but Jared Dahl says operating room. So, you know, I would suggest that whether you answer that surgery or operating room might be determined by whether your NI, wherever it is, front or back stack, is pairing with TE or FE in the front stack. I would suggest that people who are NI-FE would go surgery, and people who are NITE would go operating room. Possibly. Just a hypothesis, just a notion, really, not even a hypothesis. Hypothesis, more like a speculative positing. Just a speculative positing, so don't put too much weight into it. But it's like that thing I pointed out in the last stream, I think, with the supermarket, right? You ask somebody, visualize yourself walking into your local supermarket. Now, describe to me how that supermarket is laid out. Hi, Bubbles. You're bold. Aren't you a bold kitty? Yes. Hello. Yes. Opening the door and looking at me with expectant eyes. Another example would be okay, let's see. Roasted marshmallows, forest, tent. You really roast my marshmallows. Guys, can you turn down the temperature a bit? You're really roasting my marshmallows in here. I mean, there's lots of examples of those sort of things you could consider, like, I don't know. Like seating. seating, music, and earplugs. Seating, music, and earplugs. The last one I said was, before that one was not a horror movie. I don't remember what it was. I don't remember what my clues were. Oh, it was camping. It was camping. Tent, or fire, roasting marshmallows, forest, tent, that's camping. If you have seating, music, and earplugs, what are you talking about? What are you talking about if you got seating and music and earplugs? Yeah. That's what I'm asking you today. Alright, how about this one? Giant flies, non-potable water, and extremely white teeth. Thoughts, anyone? Because seating, S-E-A-T-I-N-G, seating. Seating. Seating, music, and earplugs. And then the next one after that is giant flies, non-potable water, and extremely white teeth. John Ryan Barron. Yeah, hair ties. Well, that could take a lot of TE. You got a lot of figuring out to do. We're trying to think. We're playing N-I, yeah. So, like, the clues are, well, in the very first one that we did, the clue, well, anyway, the clue right now is seating, music, and earplugs. So, the answer, Alien 60, is sort of that. It's concert, right? Going to a rock concert or something. The next one is a little trickier. Giant flies, non-potable water, or non-potable water, I'm not sure how you say that, and very white teeth. Anybody? Anybody want to guess? Trying to sleep. No. Anybody want to guess about my last one? Or anybody else want to make up one of these? Go for it, if you want to make up one too. I gave you 3 excellent clues. Giant flies, non-potable drinking water, and very white teeth. No, Sean Ryan Barron, it's Africa. It's Africa. The answer is Africa. Because that was funnier, you see. Okay, how about this one then? Okay. Food. 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 Cameras. And a clock. Food, cameras, and a clock. Food, cameras, and a clock. Yeah. What do you think it is? What do you think it is that I'm talking about? Am I talking about your mom's face again? Well, she eats food. I take pictures of her while she's eating it, and she times me, so maybe. But no, that's not the answer this time. It's something different. Food, cameras, and a clock. Yeah, oh yeah, multiple. As in, más de uno, por favor. Más de uno. Quizás más de dos. Where's the food come in, Dallas? Food. Cameras and a clock. No, it's a cooking competition show. Like Chopped. How about this? Rings, swimming, torch. Ooh, tricky one. Ring, swimming. There you go, Sean Ryan Barron. You got it. It's the Summer Olympics, more specifically, the Summer Olympics. Yes, Alien 60. Because why? Because they carry a torch around. They pretend they've carried it all the way from Greece. But they didn't carry it the whole way. It's a lie. There are oceans sometimes in the way. Alright. Let me try another one. Alright. This is tables, blinking lights, and indoor smoking. Tables, blinking lights, and indoor smoking. What am I talking about? Am I talking about inside of your mom's uterus? Yes. Strike one. Casino. Dallas, casino is right. Sometimes pronounced casino. Okay, let's try another one. This is alternate world. Harem. And lolly. alternate world harem and lolly. What could I be talking about? There you go, Alien 60. You got one. You spelled it wrong, but that's fine. I would have spelled it wrong too. Yeah, it's specifically isekai. Anime, I think, would have been a little broad of an answer. It's even a specific kind of isekai, you know. Oh, that one's obvious. Okay, well, how about this, Mr. Smarty Pants? Flying, submerged, and culprit. Flying, submerged, and culprit. We'll see how you do when you're in your field. This is right in your field, right here. This is landing directly in your field, leaving a crop circle. Culprit. You might say perpetrator. Either culprit or perpetrator would be fine. You could choose which one you want. Flying, submerged, perpetrator or culprit. Flying, submerged, and culprit. No. Unidentified is the answer. Because unidentified often precedes flying, which is then followed by object. Unidentified often precedes submerged, which is then followed by object. And unidentified often precedes the word culprit or perpetrator. So I switched it up on you. Why? Because I'm tricky like that. That's right. I'm tricky as a bag full of tricks inside a trick bag. It's inside of a trick box. That's how tricky I am. You got it wrong. I did enjoy CJ's stream a great deal. I thought, hey, you know what? This CJ guy, he's alright. I like this guy. I could listen to him stream. He's very listen-toable. He's smooth. He's a smooth operator, like Sade says. He's coast to coast, LA to Chicago, on the back of a very smooth lizard. The key thing is this. If you want to have a much happier time of it, instead of looking for unidentified flying objects, look for identified flying objects. They're much easier to find. I can successfully locate identified flying objects all the time. And what's even easier than that, identified landed objects. Like this is a lighter, or we like to call it ILO, Identified Landed Object. I'm able to see these things all over the place. I've been looking for unidentified flying objects for a while now. I don't know if they're being stubborn, I'm unlucky, or what, but I never see any unidentified flying objects. And it occurred to me the other night, if these aliens are so good at their concealing technology, maybe they're just disguising themselves as airplanes. Then how are you ever going to catch them? You know? You're never going to catch them because you're always going to think they're an identified flying object. You know? And that's what I think is probably happening. Well, that's true, but depending on how educated the flying objects are, they can convert into uninformed flying objects. So, they could still be UFOs. Just depends on how informed they are. You know what I'm saying? It's also, of course, conceivable they might be uniformed flying objects. They might be underneath flying objects. It may turn out that the unidentified flying object was underneath another identified flying object, in which case they'd still be UFOs. It could be Ulysses flying object, so if somebody named Ulysses owns the plane or something, that would still be a UFO. Watch out, kitty. Let me guess. You don't like that food. Surprise, surprise. That's what I like to call not the chocolate of the century trouble. It's not the U that changes, it's the F. They immediately fall to the ground the second they're identified. Oh. I didn't realize that the lack of identification was what was keeping them afloat. Well, and the truth is, most so-called unidentified flying objects are just ostriches and emus. Because people have been lied to for so long about these so-called flightless birds, it's conditioned them so that when they see an ostrich flying through the sky, they think that must be a flying saucer or something. Sometimes I'll yell down to them, "No, it's just me on my ostrich sky chariot." And they're so brainwashed, they'll just say, like, "Sounds like alien gibberish." I shake my head. The ostrich will poop on them. And then next day I read another thing in the news about a so-called alien abduction where they stole the people away and left bird poop on their head. So true. Oh my God, that is so true. As Oliver Linehan wisely pointed out, turns out the ostriches aren't the only ones with their heads in the sand. It's time for us to wake up. You know, they say they've been telling us that they landed on the moon back in the 1960s. The truth is, I didn't discover the moon until the early 80s. So there's no way anybody could have landed on it before then. These are just some of the lies they're telling us. They call it the Grand Canyon. It turns out it's a mini Grand. Lies we are sold, I tell you. I mean, and they're being generous to give it that title even. It's a lot more like an upright than anything else, but I guess it's a big upright. So I'm here to break down the iron grip the mainstream media has on your little minds. I'm here to blow them wide open with the truth. Did you know what the avocado industry is trying to keep from you? They don't want you to realize this. They position avocados in all these different roles in the commercial. Here's your avocado running a seminar. Here's an avocado riding a horse. The truth is, avocados are only good for one thing: guacamole. Can we stop lying to ourselves about this? Actually, Oliver Linehan, I discovered you back in the 80s, though. You just didn't realize I'd been watching the whole time. I was watching you before you were born. I was watching your parents' courtship from afar with my telescope. I use telescope a lot of times to keep an eye on people from a long distance away. People that because I planted the slabs 100,000 million years ago that slowly grew into this current reality because of determinism. Because, the future was predetermined. The only thing that I got wrong, I didn't anticipate the power of the avocado cabals. I don't think anybody could have anticipated that. It seems so obvious that it's only useful for guacamole that I just never believed that anybody would be fooled into thinking otherwise. And yet, here we are in what can only be deemed a dystopic bedlam. If I do quote Mr. Vaknin, Eric, about the status quo test, do you consider the effect of the difference in causes between the pivot and the lack of pivot status quo? I mean, no, the status and then the landed. I don't know what you mean by status quotes. What do you mean by status quotes? It is true that people who are less fluent in English are more difficult for me to type. That I do have a lot of language-specific tests, and some of them are more American-specific even than just English-specific. So it is true that I am somewhat less empowered to type foreigners correctly. But you know what? That's what they get for being foreigners, okay? If you want to be easy to type, be an American. Alright, Alien 60? I guess you didn't get the memo about what country to be from. It starts with a U, the middle letter is S, and the last letter is A. And the way it sounds when you chant it, which I'm sure, I know foreigners really feel like, oh, thank God I get to hear this again. When we chant it, it sounds like this: USA, USA, USA. And that's how you know we've won another sporting event. Oliver Linehan, if the moon's not real, then what are those packs of moon dogs living upon? And what are we shooting nuclear missiles at constantly? This is what I want you to do. I'm going to give you a prescription, Alien 60. Step 1, you need to eat a lot more McDonald's. Step 2, you need to start caring about shit that doesn't matter more. Like, I don't know, reality shows and stuff. Step 3, whenever you go anywhere in the world, when you walk off the plane, You need to say, just to let everybody know, I'm an American citizen. Like that, okay? That keeps the other people in the other countries in check. Puts them in their place. Lets them know, hey, when you go to other countries, also make sure never try to say anything in any language but English, because it's their job to speak American, okay? I said, where is the Ching Long Dang Temple? Like that. If they don't understand the first time, look at your partner, whoever you're with, roll your eyes and say, can you believe this? Listen, where is, get it? Where is the Ching Dong Chang Temple? This guy doesn't know anything. Alright, never mind, just... What is wrong with this country? They don't have people who speak the right language around here. I can barely talk to anybody. And it's like all they serve is Chinese food. I mean, I know it's China, but... I mean, like, is that like all Chinese people eat is like Chinese food? It should be like that, okay? Practice saying things like, oh, these poor people are kind of depressing. Practice saying that, okay? That'll help. Can you please take us through, like, not any poor areas? That's a good one. Does it smell this bad everywhere around here? That's a good one. So, like, why haven't you guys figured out how to put drinking water come out of the faucet yet? That'll work, probably. To win friends and influence people. Or, when you think the people around you can't speak English, say things like, I can't believe these people aren't even Christian. Okay, listen. I don't mean to tell you like your job, but there is no ice at all in my drink. It's like you didn't even put like 1 cube in. So you need to go back and fill my cup with ice and then put the soda in. What is up with this country and they're not putting ice in drinks already? It's so dumb. I think they would have figured that out by now. You know, it's a good idea. We should get those Middle Eastern people over like that area to just be like one country. Call it like Middle Eastian or something. Let's do that. What do you mean they hate each other? They hate each other. Why? They're all like Middle Easterners, aren't they? Well, they're different kinds of Muslims. But they're all Muslims, right? I mean, come on. They could be one country. It's inconvenient having them be 2 countries. Like, we want, the oil and stuff, and that country's not really very cooperative about it. So, could we just push that together into one country, the cooperative kind? Is that cool with everybody? What do you mean, Civil War? Alright, fuck that place. I'm tired of that place. You guys want to talk about China now? How about Ukraine? Yeah, let's go blow them up. Wait, we're not blowing up Ukraine? Who are we blowing up? Oh, somebody in Ukraine. Right, Russia. Right, okay. Cool, let's do it. Fuck those Russians. Hey, let's go visit Moscow. Hi, everybody. We're Americans. We're here to visit your quaint burg. I'm not really that kind of American. No, I'm the special kind of American. The kind of American who visits your country and says, hey, I'm here to respect your culture, learn about your ways, grow as a person from experiencing life through your eyes. Show me, what does it really mean to be Serbian? Oh my gosh, this authentic Serbian food is so culinarily diverse. I love it. Braised goat tail. Delicious. I'm gonna be that person. The problem is I will never stop being an American. Like, if I go on vacation to some other country and they have some local food, I'll be like, yeah, you got a McDonald's around here? Yeah, I don't want to eat your strange shit that you people eat over here. Try becoming a monk. I would never sustain a vow of silence, that's for sure. Abstinence would also be a problem, as would the robe, the daily prayers, the living in a monastery, the weird haircut with a circle in the middle. What line of work are you in, son? Oh, I'm a war profiteer. Ooh, good money in that line of work. Okay, I approve of your interest in my daughter. Like, listen, if your daughter has two suitors, she brings them in turn, each in turn to dinner to introduce you, see what you think. One of them is a monk and one of them is a war profiteer. You're going to choose the war profiteer, I think. You're going to say, oh, sweetie, I really like that war profiteer. He sells arms, there's good money in that. He engages in price gouging. In times of great chaos and distress, there could be a lot of money in that, you know. He sows discord wherever he goes. That's a useful skill to have. Oh, wonderful kitty. Oh, my beauty. I love you with my heart. Well, I mean, it could be like a Shaolin monk. I don't think Shaolin monks have a vow of abstinence, do they? Do kick-ass kung fu monks have to be abstinent? Or are they allowed to hump? That's a good question, Eric. Good question. Catholic monks, I mean, I think nowadays they probably would rather they hump ladies because otherwise they just hump each other. I think mostly Catholic monks tend to be gay because they just figure, well, I don't really want to be openly gay, but I don't want to hump chicks. I might as well be a monk, maybe. What do you think about that theory? I'll tell you who I think the real Pope is. Her name is Capio. And she is right there. As lovely as a desert flower in full bloom. As triumphant as 1,000 battles in which the British defeat the Spanish Armada. As triumphant as 1,000 Arc de Triomphes in France. Oh, wonderful kitty. May I pet your glorious regality? Oh my goodness, here I come. It's petting time. Yes. Oh yeah. Oh yeah. Daddy loves you so much. Oh yes, he does. He knows what a special and good kitty friend you are. Oh yeah. Oh yeah. What a good kitty friend. What a wonderful kitty friend. What a special, just and true kitty royalty she is. Oh, my beautiful kitty royalty. But Rachel points out, we think she got in a bit of a tussle. Avocado shortage. Those are just more lies from the avocado cabal, Dulles. We've got an avocado tree in our backyard that's chock full of blooms. What's wrong with the avocado trees? Why is there an avocado shortage? Did somebody forget to pick avocados from the avocado tree? So Kitty got in a bit of a tussle tonight. You can see this tuft of fur is gone right there. That's why we think she got into a tussle. That's what Rachel said anyway. Rachel may have additional reasons for thinking that. It's hard to say. You know what's interesting is that Thelonious Monk was not a monk. Little known facts. That's what they want you to think. Really, they've got an avocado surplus because people don't eat that much guacamole. Well, hollowing out an avocado and filling it with drugs sounds like a good way to smuggle. Smuggle your drugs, you know. All you need to do is find some drugs that are the same consistency and color of avocado meat. There's an avocado you can do something with besides make guacamole, right? That's a real all-purpose avocado. You can do it, share it with your friends. You could say, hey, look at all this cocaine I have. All kinds of things you can do with that. You can make guacamole out of it. You can still make guacamole out of it, even a cocaine-filled avocado. Is susceptible to guacamolifying. Guacamolifying. Don't guacamolify me. Don't just guacamolify me, okay? That's when you try to mollify somebody with guacamole. To guacamolify. No, well, The key thing to snorting avocado is first you gotta dry it out, okay? And you gotta crush it into a very fine powder. Then you've got to soak it in acetone overnight. Then burn off that acetone as best you can, okay? Then put some lye and other poisonous chemicals in there and try to get rid of them, okay? And then do it. That's the way you make drugs. Eric, why do you always correct spelling? Do I always correct spelling? And what do you mean? Like when I'm writing my own shit, why do I correct my own spelling? Because I don't like having mistakes in my writing, I guess. We could smoke banana peels. The problem is those correlate with jaundice. If you smoke too many banana peels, you get yellow. Yellow eyes. You become a coward as well. Do I correct people's spelling in chat? I mean, I don't think I generally do that. If I get the meaning of something, I generally don't correct the spelling. If it's a misspelling that suggests a different word, like, if it's not a misspelling, but rather what's called it's called a malapropism. Malapropism. If it's a malapropism, that's different. I'll correct that. I'll usually make a joke about it. Like, malapropism might be like, and so the priest called him up, and as instructed, he then stood there and recanted the verses. No, he didn't recant the verses, he recited the verses. You got the wrong word. Recant means something totally different. Like, that's correcting a diction problem, right? It's usually some sort of malapropism, as they say. And I will correct that because I'm clarifying for everybody, he doesn't mean what he's saying there, he means this. I don't know how I would even correct spelling in the chat because I guess I would say explicitly you spelled that word wrong. I don't remember really ever saying that. Is spelling a T-E or T-I thing? It's probably a T-I thing. I do correct spelling in my own stuff for sure. I don't like it when I have misspellings in my work. I go through and make sure I right click everything that's got a red line under it and fix it. You know, I want my writing to present as I mean, I don't want very smart people to not really be very impressed. Or to have any reason to think like, he's kind of half-assing it or whatever. If I'm going to bother to write something, I want it to be correct. It's kind of an aesthetics thing too. I just don't like looking at sloppy stuff. When it comes to words, when it comes to myself, obviously I don't care. I look at myself being sloppy all day long, and that's fine. Of course, when you look at Kitty, she's the opposite of sloppy. She's clean, wonderful, pure, and true. Just fine, special, and good. You can see it in her face, can't you? Yeah. You can see it there. You can see it right there in her little kitty eyes. Saying, I'm here. Everybody, relax. It's me. I'm Kitty. Hear me roar. Hear me roar. Okay, so I'm going to be taking over the live stream now. My name's Capillo. I like to lick my paw. And I'm sitting here on the back of the couch on this blue towel. Well, what are we discussing tonight? What do you guys want to discuss? Are there any questions for me? Ask me anything. This is Capillo AMA. Ask me anything. I'm ready to answer. I'm here. I'm Capillo. I don't want any more bears. I don't know. It just seemed you often declare if the spelling is wrong. I maybe do. I don't know. I don't really care about it. If I understand a comment, I'll generally try to just deal with it for what it is, what it says, barring the exception I indicated. Eric, will you please stop? This is about me, Capillo. I'm here to answer questions about my life, my type, your type, truth, art, beauty, being a cat, any of those things. Thank you, Oliver. That's an excellent question. Oliver asks, can I say anything other than meow, meow, or other such variants? The answer, unfortunately, is no. I do have very limited vocabulary in terms of words that I use. They are variants of meow usually, although you might say that the straight purr is not really a variant of meow, but a totally distinct vocalization. I think that might be fair to say. But I will state this. I have a great deal of variability within my meowing range, which allows me to be very quite expressive with just a few words. Plus, if you're not aware of cat language, meow is, depending on how it's pronounced, can be either a verb, a noun, or an adjective. So thank you for the excellent question. Are there any other questions? I'm not normally this open, but Eric and I talked tonight, and I said, you know what, Eric, I want to open up to the people that you talk to all the time. I want them to get to know the real me, the real Capillo, not the one that you just baby talk to all the time, but the cat that lives, loves, learns, and listens. Well, that's a great question, Oliver. I don't want to make Eric angry, so I'm just going to say I understand things, okay? He's got a little bit of he's a little fussy, but I'm not fussy about Eric. You know how you are about understanding things. I told you the other day, but I don't even want to recap the fight, okay? Let's just leave it at this. Yeah, I'm with him. I understand things. Well, that's not what you said the other day. Eric, the other day, I understood, okay? And I know you don't like that, but I don't want to argue about it. Alright, fine. Thanks for bringing up such a sensitive subject, Oliver. It's not his fault, Eric. It's your fault. Now, are there any other questions? Upper standing is preferable, to be perfectly honest. Preference is litter box or outside. I never use a litter box. It's disgusting. I have heard about these things. I've never been forced to use one before, fortunately. Well, actually, I have one time, a couple of times, when these assholes leave on vacation. And I have a litter box and I'm locked inside the house, but it's very temporary. it seems unhygienic, I mean, the dirt's right out there. I do the natural thing. I dig a hole in the dirt. I poop in the hole. I cover it up. And that way nobody has to scoop anything or carry anything. It doesn't smell like cat shit. It seems a perfectly sensible approach to things. But from what I understand, some people, they like to have their cat poop in a box inside the house all the time. Seems crazy to me. I've really soured on the wet food. I used to be a wet food kind of girl. I liked wet food mixed in with some dry food. Eric used to get me tuna. Now he hasn't gotten me that in a while, but I kind of lost a taste for it. There are a couple of specific dry foods I enjoy. I enjoy your ocean whitefish based dry foods. Particularly tuna would be great if they had that in the store. And I also enjoy Iams, which is chicken. I'm not normally a big chicken fan, but Iams is good. I'll eat that. Do I like it when Eric touches me? Well, sometimes. You see, usually he's pretty good about letting me come to him on my terms. But sometimes, when I'm just lying somewhere, he keeps coming up and making these strange noises and then insisting on petting me. It's not like I'm mad about it, and it's kind of nice, but eventually it's kind of like, okay, enough already. Enough. I don't come up and do that to you. But he's okay. He's fine. He tries his best. He's just a little bit retarded. I'm not retarded, Capillo. Well, you're a little bit retarded. Not even a little bit retarded. A little bit, though. Okay, a little bit, maybe. About some things. Like what? Well, like about personal boundaries and petting. We've talked about this. The pettings. The unwanted pettings. Okay, well, unwanted is a strong word, Capillo. Well, I'm the one who knows what I want, Eric, not you. Fair point. Do you mind if I pull a bong rip while you continue the interview? No, go right ahead. Well, you don't have to wait for me. You can continue. I'll wait. You're too loud. Alright, well, if you want to wait then. Are you done? Yeah, I'm done. Okay, anyway. Oliver asks the provocative question, aren't we all a little bit retarded? The answer is basically you all are, but I'm definitely not. Because I was known as a kitty pageant winner, which means even among cats, I get awards for being the best cat, the most beautiful cat, the smartest cat, the most creative cat, the best problem-solving cat, the most socially graceful cat with the best memory, the cat with the most authentic connection to her own feelings, and also the cat with the most physical prowess. I've gotten awards for all of those every year I've been alive. So I'm an award-winning cat. I assume that question is directed to me. Do I bite Capillo? No, I would never bite Capillo. Capillo does, when she's feeling very generous, lick me sometimes. Oh, Oliver, you played a little trick on me, huh? You did, in fact, ask if we are all a little bit retraded. The answer to that is no, because only those of us who have been traded in the first place even have the capacity to be retraded. And not everyone's traded. I've never been traded. But if I were to be traded, then presumably I could be retraded. Oh, you're asking me if I bite myself. Well, I'm not biting myself per se. I'm biting fleas that have taken up residence on my fur. And I gotta admit, I can be a little bit of a difficult patient. Eric tried to put this white powder on me to get rid of the fleas, and I really don't like the white powder. I don't like the fleas, but I also don't like the white powder. So, I can sometimes meow harshly. I can raise my voice at him occasionally. Do I bite? Well, I eat food, don't I? How do you think I eat it? Like just osmosis? You think I rub DSMO all over myself and then roll around in the food? No, dummy, of course I bite. Computer, that's a little rude. Eric, shut up. Okay. Oh, so my experience being a slave is not universal, right? Thanks, Capio. Yeah, that's right. Nobody would dare enslave me. I have written into my life contract, no enslavement, please. Well, Oliver Linehan, I would free you from enslavement, but I'm currently resting. Alien 60, shut up. You want my FI? That's what I tell you. You shut up. I don't like what you're saying. How you like that, huh? Is that a little bit more ISTJ for you? I remember that one time that I said that one thing to that one person. I'm repeating it to you now. There, how's that for ISTJ in you? Questioning my type, I say. Okay, listen, Alien 60. You are starting to make me kitty cross. A cross kitty is not a happy kitty. You know what they say? Happy cat, happy life. I don't need to open my eyes to read things, Oliver. I'm reading them. My eyes are actually a little bit open. There's a mirror down here that I'm reading it from, where Eric's gesturing to right now. It's reflecting your words off of one mirror and then off of another mirror to turn it right direction again. And I'm reading it. Yes, I'm an ISTJ. I like my routine. I like my comfort. I like to be clean. I like to give love on my terms and receive it on my terms. I'm very selfish with my third slot FI. And I'm an excellent problem solver. But I only solve problems that are important to me. I never solve anybody else's problems. Unless I love them a lot. But, Eric and Rachel don't really seem to appreciate my gifts. I brought them a few different birds, lizards, a few, dead bugs and stuff. And they don't seem overjoyed by the presents that I deliver. I'm not quite sure why. Where's Eric? Oh, I think he went to the store. Yeah, he went to the store to get some cigarettes, I believe. You know, him and his smoking. He's always smoking. Anyhow, you know, you people aren't so bad. For a long time I thought, who are these jerks that Eric's always talking to? And now that I'm actually talking to you myself, I'm like, hey, you guys aren't so bad. What do you say to the allegations that you weren't actually saying any of this? That Eric is reading, speaking in your place. Many people are saying you are illiterate. Many of the greatest people. I mean, haters gonna hate. You know, a lot of people say Einstein was the stupidest man in the world. But a lot of other people say, no, he was very smart. This is the same thing. Some people are saying, I can't even read this or say anything. But those people are dumb. Other people go, no, this cat is really smart. Those are the smart people. Don't be dumb. That's the moral of this story. Obviously it's me. Here. Meow. See? Eric doesn't know how to say meow. Only I know how to say that. I am not going to score against Norwich today or any other day. I've given up soccer to pursue my career as a kitty model. Supermodel slash ambassador, I guess you'd say. Cat ambassador. Yes, I dream. I dream of a day when when people just say, hey, let's let the cats decide things. I do have this one cat friend. His name's Trouble. He lives up to his name in general, but he's alright. He's a little, dopey, a little forward, a little pushy. He seems to want to be more than friends, let's say. And I've been pretty clear about my boundaries there. I say, hey, look, I don't have a uterus. Please don't think that my friendship means anything more. My feelings are limited here, okay? And he says, I don't care if you don't have a uterus, but I don't think he's getting the point. I do care. Okay, I am sick and tired of having my very being, my very ontology challenged. I am a cat. My name is Capillo. And the idea that somehow Eric could imitate me this perfectly. I mean, do I sound like Eric? No, this is my voice. Obviously, if you ever talked to me before on the phone or something, Eric doesn't sound like this, I sound like this. You think the idea that he could imitate me this perfectly, off screen while I'm sitting right here and not even notice anything myself, and that's just crazy. What do I do for a living? Well, I guess you could say I'm a cat who does her thing, My presence alone is sufficient to deserve being supported in a queen-like fashion. I don't require much anyway. I eat food. I only drink one beverage, and that's water. And I don't like really any objects. I'm not trying to collect a lot of objects or anything. I'm a minimalist. I am not a freeloader, okay? Hardly. Do you know how many pets I gotta put up with? I gotta put up with shit ton of pets. Eric is ridiculous, and Rachel's just as bad. Rachel will follow me around and be like, oh, I want to pet you, I'd just be like, God, woman, my fur is not opium. I gotta put up with that shit. I gotta put up with it gracefully. I gotta pretend to like these people. I gotta meow at them and look cute periodically. Eric makes me star in his videos sometimes. You think this comes free? No. There's a price to pay. I pay the price every day in my dignity. Do you hear how this man talks to me? I can't even look at the camera anymore. I just gotta look away. You just gotta look away until you don't see me crying. I am underrated. People think that talking to famous people has something to do with Eric. This is my channel. People come here to see me, not him. Have you ever heard the guy talking? He's so full of himself. He's completely insufferable. It's like, grow up already. He's some kind of puffed up baby. I'm glad he's got the store not that he doesn't hear me, because he's very sensitive. If he heard me say that, I would never hear the end of it. Well, no, I've not tried injecting my own fur, obviously, Oliver. That's not the only way to check to see if something's opium. I tried smoking it instead, and no, it didn't get me high. So, that's how we know it's not opium. God, you don't go straight to the syringe, dude. First you try you try smoking it. Maybe even just try boofing it, you know? Like on the first date, do you say, hi, let me stick my dick in your ass? You're a little forward, don't you think? That's how you're treating this opiate fur thing. I wonder what that is, someone says, and Oliver Linehan says, I don't know, let me inject it into my bloodstream. Oh, I love bathing. I love it. That's the other problem with all the unwanted pets is every time I get pets, after he's done, I gotta wash my back again because now it stinks like his hand. He doesn't wash his hands very often. I don't want that mess all over my back, so every time he pets me, I gotta then get up, I gotta clean that spot. And I do like bathing. I bathe a lot. And despite the fact that I bathe myself entirely with my spit, I smell wonderful. Why? Because my spit doesn't smell bad. You know, I caught Eric one day bathing himself with his spit, and he stank like gross spit the rest of the day. I said, don't copy me. That's not, you don't have the right kind of spit. Come here, smell my spit. And he did, and he said, yeah, that spit smells fantastic. Yeah. I make sure I'm comfortable, I get what I want, and I don't like change. Like, Eric should really have gone to bed by now. And instead of being in bed with the Rachel and Eric all together, now I'm out here waiting. There's another screen behind the couch you can't see, guys. It's back down there below. I'm reading that screen. It's not like we just have one screen around here. What, are you guys in 1954 and you just have one device and the whole family gathers around the radio to listen to the news? Welcome to 1954, Mr. Linehan. No, obviously we have multiple screens. There's nothing mythical about me, okay? I'm a real person, but... I'm back from the store. Oh, welcome back. I'm glad to see you back. We were just saying such wonderful things about you. You were? You were saying wonderful things? Yes, I was. I was saying how great you are and how much I love being pet by you. Were you really saying that? Yeah, totally. Was she really saying that? Because sometimes she looks a little resentful at my pets. No, I love your pets. What are you talking about? Can't get enough of them. Is that true, Kitty Wonderful Pants? Is it true that you can't get enough of my pets? Oh, beauty. So good and just. So true and wonderful. Oh, yeah. See, this is the shit I'm talking about. This is what I'm talking about. Ay. Now I gotta clean. First he made my side of my head itch. Now I gotta clean off where he pet. There's some Eric dirt right there. And get that spot. This man, the things I put up with. Well, I guess he means well. He does have the appropriate amount of deference. I would say perhaps he's a little too deferring, maybe a little obsequious, but... sorry for the delayed audio. I'm a long ways away from the camera, so that's why there's a delay between my mouth moving and the sound you hear. Yeah, that's right. I'm an influencer. I'm a social media superstar. I've got a contract with L'Oreal. Another contract with Meow Mix, even though I personally actually don't eat Meow Mix. But, oh, that's good scratching. Oh, yeah. Excuse me a second. I just gotta get this paw here real quick. Before okay, there. Good. So anyway, let me get over here. Okay. Influencer, right. So I've got a number of endorsement operations in the works here. I actually even talked with Jake Paul about potentially boxing him. The payday's big enough, I mean, why not, you know? I can't believe he got dirt even all the way down here. Oh, God. That's kind of yucky, but whatever. It's better than having filthy fur. Okay, that's pretty good. Capillo, I am not filthy like you're indicating here, okay? My hands are not filthy. I do wash my hands occasionally. When's the last time you washed your hands? You don't even remember. Was it today? Well, I mean, it wasn't, was it? Well, I don't remember specifically washing my hands today. When did you wash them last? I washed them last night. Are you sure? Pretty sure. You know, I definitely washed. I took a bath last night. That's not even washing your hands. That's taking a bath. Oh. You want me to box Obama? I mean, it's just, I would, but the payday's not there, you know? Jake Paul is the hot item right now, so I'm either going to box him or considering maybe boxing Florian Marcuse because I want to see his hat. I think his hat's kind of funny. But, you know, I guess Albanians are kind of sensitive about that. Let me just clean back here. Excuse me a moment. This spot right there, yeah. Okay, just wipe off all the air. There we go. Okay, that's good. That's better. It's a lot better. Yeah. Kitty, you sure are a clean kitty. Will you shut up, Eric? You're the one who made me dirty. Well, gosh, you don't have to talk to me like that. I'm sorry. I love you. You're fine. I hate it when the cat tells me I'm fine. It's like, is that really, you really respecting my feelings? You're fine, I said. Stop being so sensitive. I wonder if that counts as contempt according to John Gottman. No, it's not contempt. God, you're always like that. And stop shitting on Albania, for God's sakes. I'm not shitting on Albania. Really? Yes, really. Okay. Anyway, I appreciate everybody's patience. I am almost done with the cleaning, and I'll be right back to give you my full attention here. That was good cleaning, but not quite done. Got a little bit more dirt here. Let me check over here. There we go. That leg there. Yeah, there's that bit, of course. That particular stripe does have a tendency to get especially dirty. You gotta kind of gnaw on in there. Yeah, there we go. Okay, I'm gonna wipe my cheek off. I think I might have got a piece of corn there on my cheek. Let me see if I can knock that off. It's so embarrassing when you walk around with a kernel of corn on your face. Okay, finally. Now I'm ready to chat. Why is this line all wiggly looking? Oh, it's just the green screen, I see. Okay, never mind. I thought that was reality for a second. because I'm looking at the screen. There's a screen over there in front of me too. There's one, if I were to look towards the camera, there's a screen over there. There's one behind the couch, as I indicated. Let me just clean this real quick. And there. And then there's also a screen over in this direction where I'm looking currently. So, you know. But you know, if there's not any more questions, I think I might take a little nap. Feeling kind of nappy. I'm not sure. I never really know if I want to go to sleep until I do. My Eric's voice is kind of soothing sometimes when I listen to it. Maybe if I let him take over, it'll put me right to sleep. He always talks about boring shit. Capillo, I do not talk about boring shit. Well, yeah, you kind of do. No. Yeah. Well, boring to you maybe, but not boring to smart people. I'm a lot smarter than you, Eric. Okay, well, what makes you say that? I have an IQ of 174. Well, IQ doesn't matter. That's just because yours is low. That's why you say that. Nuh-uh. Yes. Now shut up. Take over. I'm going to take a nap. Alright. Well, I never dreamed that, letting the cat take over, she'd be so mean to me. You know, she was really mean about me. She decided to take a nap, you know. I can tell you a little bit about her heritage. Her mother was a French Canadian who was the son of a regular Canadian and a Frenchman. And the Frenchman was the father and the regular Canadian was the mother. The Canadian mother was herself the daughter of an Englishman, a Spaniard, and the Spaniard was the son of a Spaniard and a Chinese woman. Now, the Chinese woman was the daughter of an Indian and a Malaysian, but raised by Chinese parents. So you tell me what her heritage is. It's hard to say. She just has the heritage of specialness within her. The heritage of glory. The heritage of truth. The heritage of Mr. John Wilkes Booth. Her mother was John Wilkes Booth's cat. That's how famous. My cat comes from a very famous line of cats. Really? Your cat's mother was John Wilkes Booth's cat? Yeah. But how could John Wilkes Booth's cat have lived long enough to give birth to this cat? Just a really old cat. I know, I was thinking that too earlier. I was like, why do you have to pet her again? She just finished cleaning herself. That's why I only pet her twice. I figured she could possibly put up with that, you know. No, he wasn't implicated as a co-conspirator, but he did serve a short period of time in jail for contempt of court for refusing to testify against John Wilkes Booth, who was already dead. So he said, I don't want to defame the dead. And the judge said, contempt of court, you go to jail. But, of course, fortunately, the cat was able to climb out through the slats of the jail window. So he would come and go as he pleased. Yeah. It's true. What I've discovered about Capio, in particular, regarding her FI, is she's definitely very selfish about it, you know. She wants us to love her when she wants us to love her on her terms. And she'll occasionally give us, sort of throw us a bone, being pleasant to us at other times, you know. But it's fine because she's a cat, and that's what you get with cats, you know, sometimes, especially an ISTJ cat. But she's a wonderful kitty friend, a delight, and a desert flower among the rattlesnakes and the sand of reality. My cat is a desert flower in the sands and rattlers of reality. Among the venomous creatures, the spines and the thorns, my cat, alone, with glory adorned, sits atop of the couch to bring us all joy, like water in a cactus wasteland on a very hot day. Don't you mean day? Can you type yourself correctly? Some insights. Am in an uncertainty cacophony. An uncertainty cacophony? Wow. It's possible to type yourself correctly, sure. Can you type yourself correctly? That I do not know. It's possible for one to type oneself correctly. Have you typed yourself correctly? I don't know. Are you capable of typing yourself correctly? Also, I don't know. Would you like to know your correct type? Possibly. Actually, I don't know that either. Would you like to have certainty about a type? Probably. Do you find the cacophony of uncertainty discordantly loud? Probably. If it's a cacophony, then I'm going to say yeah. If, on the other hand, it's just a can of coffee, then those are pretty quiet. You don't know how you know you typed yourself correctly? Do you know you typed yourself correctly? Do you feel as though you know you typed yourself correctly, but you don't feel as though you can justify it with good enough reasons? Or do you not actually know if you've typed yourself correctly and feel uncertainty about that? Well, let me ask you this personality type question in Alien 60. Have you ever considered naming yourself Cozy Toes Snuggle onesie? If not, why not? Cozy Toes Snuggle Onesie is a friend of Subtle Dick Raisin Balls. Both of whom are friends with the International Delight and Parker Tart Lemon Squeeze, as well as Francis, of course. Francis, the Baron of Brows, as they sometimes call her. Well, look, a person can sort of know holistically what type they are, feel very certain about it. In general, I can tell you that's how I know my type, is I knew it first and foremost as an NI thing, reading type descriptions and knowing I was that type, and also as a sort of TE thing, taking a test and getting that result. But I confirmed it as a TI thing, but I still fundamentally know it as an SI or an NI thing. So the question then is asked, is the problem that you lack sufficiently strong argumentation to justify knowing it on an NI level that also validates with TI? Or is the problem that you don't really have NI clarity and or sufficient, I guess you might say, parsing parsing, what's that word? Nexus. Parsing nexi. This is the nexus of my moisture. Here, multiple streams of moisture meet to form Nexus Lake. Where? Right here. In my heart. This is inside my chest. Did you have a typing session with someone 100% sure of their type? If so, how does that affect the typing? It doesn't affect it at all because nobody tells me what type they are before I type them. I tell everybody specifically, don't tell me what type you think you are, what type you think you aren't, what type you are, anything like that before we start. Well, I mean, the thing is, to meaningfully type yourself or evaluate your own answers to TI questions, for example, you'd have to objectively evaluate how well you answer the questions compared to various types who are asked those questions in various typing sessions. If you're genuinely like an INTP, then you're fast and right, and like if I were to ask a question like, who is my mother's father's wife's only daughter's son? An INTP is likely to answer that question by saying, well, it's you or your brother, which is correct. So it's like, it doesn't mean if you get it right but don't answer it like that you're not an INTP. But if you don't understand what I just said right away, then you're not. unless it's a serious language problem. Well, that's all well and good, Bruce Lee. But what if I don't want to understand it? I want to pick a flower. Consider that. Instead of understanding your plants. I mean, what do you know? Your whole deal is about punching people. Understanding is blossoming. Yeah, I mean, I do encounter people who don't like the type I tell them that they are, and I try to take a more Dulles-esque approach to that than maybe I once would have, which is to say, I tell them, well, I mean, look, remember, if there are some aspects of, like, let's say I type you as, well, let's just say ENFP and you want to be INFP. Let's just say that. Then I'll say something like, whatever these qualities are that you think are of INFPs that you have, it's much more likely that those qualities are implicit to ENFP either as well or in you than that you're not, than that you're an INFP. So in other words, whatever you want from being INFP, you can keep. Like, if you like the idea of being INFP because they're so meh, well, maybe you are so meh. That doesn't change the fact that you're an ENFP. You know? Yeah. I mean, the thing is, of course, I don't necessarily stay kind and gentle if I get a lot of pushback. So it's like, I expect some pushback in any given session right away. But if I get follow-up pushback, like, then I get an email, like, after I've talked to them for quite a while and, you know, explain what my positions were or whatever and try to be super nice about it. And then I get an email saying, you know, I think you were wrong. Maybe I talk to them again, and then maybe they come around here, and it's just, at that point I just be like, okay, whatever, dude or lady, I don't want to, you know. The thing is, there's a weird kind of like contradiction that happens when that happens, which is, number one, if you're so sure you're that type and that I'm wrong, then just be that type and ignore me. And number two, if you want to know, if you just wanted to have your type that you wanted to be validated, why did you come to me? Because I'm the one person who's not going to do that. I mean, not saying that other people necessarily will, but I definitely won't. And then, number three, if you think you're going to convince me that I was wrong, sometimes that does happen. But, you know, sometimes people will email me a good reason. Like, a reason that makes me go, huh, maybe I did get this wrong. And then maybe I'll talk to them again and be like, yeah, I think I did get it wrong. Occasionally that'll happen, but the vast majority of the time people are emailing me stuff that's not indicative of anything. That aren't good arguments as to why I was wrong, you know? I know it's not you, Alien 60. I'm not saying it's you. At no point was I talking about you when I was talking about that. I was talking about Kitty. Kitty's so wonderful. It's like the camera just doesn't even do it justice. She's so soft and just and true. Lucy, who was wrong but adorably so. Oh yeah, that yeah, that Lucy. You mean the recent one? Yeah, that the thing is, that video is doing quite well despite the rather substantial technical problems with it, which is to say there's chunks of it where the audio is all messed up, you know. And it has a lot to do with that thumbnail, because the YouTube auto thumb thing, which I didn't pick the thumbnail myself, it just auto thumbed it for me. Picked a really incredible thumbnail picture. Like, she looks like a model from Elle magazine or something. It looks like she's got sort of wet hair and this pouty look on her face and stuff, and it really draws in the clicks because it's such a compelling picture. And of course, the subject matter is quite well, I mean, I think titillating is a fair word to use. It's kind of juicy subject matter on a number of different grounds. Trouble? What are you doing, dude? You're coming inside the house now? What do you think you're up to, buddy? Trouble's right there. But yeah, when I move, he goes back outside. He doesn't want to get stuck inside here. So, but yeah, like the way that Grace wants to fight back against everything that I'm saying, that gets a little annoying. At some point, I said to her, like, well, I've been trying to. I was like, well, you're a pain in the ass, like. And then I realized it showed on her face that it kind of hurt her feelings a little bit. So I tried to soften it, But yeah, she's pushy. She can be a little pushy. So I have a tendency to go, I'll deal with that later. It sounds like I'll be under questioning by a defense attorney or something on the stand. Can you believe she thought she was an FI, Dom? I mean, that's the most ridiculous of them all. Like, no, dude. You are not an FI dom. What FI dom would be like that, you know? Can you imagine Dallas and FI dom being like Grace? I don't think so. She seems so not F. She's so not soft, you know? There's nothing soft or, like, gentle about her. From where did you get your understanding of the types of cognitive functions on a conceptual level? Like, do you know what NI exactly is, or just certain amount of how it can manifest? Well, I mean, I started by researching a bunch of different things on cognitive functions. I'd say to the extent that I would credit sources for my base understanding, it would be probably BB plus socionics, and then I basically figured out that okay, this was something that could be understood in a very robust way, but that nobody was understanding it that way because people were mixing different kinds of dichotomies together without distinguishing between what kind of mechanical argumentation was being done and stuff. People weren't operationalizing definitions. There was no standard for understanding what would qualify as an objective approach to understanding attention. So it's been a lot of years that I've slowly developed my understanding of it. But the thing is, we can explain what these things are within a variety of frames. So if you were to simulate cognitive functions, it would break down to the most reductive kind of binaries, right? In that case, what you'd say is receiving knowledge objects on the internal metaphysical plane regarding either dynamic physical systems or dynamic social systems mostly, would be NI, external such systems. So, in other words, observing what is so regarding the identity of things within themselves rather than regarding your relationship to those identities is introverted intuition. If you were to simplify it in terms of simulatable information, it would be information that's received rather than gotten, and is received from the external fields to the internal metaphysical field. If you were to simulate, if you were to simulate cognitive functions, you'd think about it from like a internet perspective, okay? On the internet, you're an agent who can engage with other agents. You can do practical things. You can basically do all the things you can do in life except for a certain amount of the physical stuff, right? So it's a good way to recognize how we model actual human behavior or create an ecosystem in which that behavior can be simulated concurrent with the actuality occurring elsewhere. In other words, what you're seeing to me is a simulation of me that mirrors or mimics exactly what I'm doing in real time. So, how do we do that? Well, we break it down to different kinds of information flows. Putting information, getting information, receiving information, and interfacing dynamically with a given kind of system. So those are how humanity deals with at least the communicative aspects of life. It involves those information flows. It turns out the same thing applies to the non-communicative information flows, and that when you break it down, we've got 4 fields. An external metaphysical field, that's the internet basically. Internal metaphysical field, that's in your own head what you're thinking. Internal physical field, that's what your body's feeling. An external physical field, that's stuff, objects, non-word based or communication based realities external to you. So, do I understand very well what every given cognitive function is or means? Yeah, I do, because I start with the fact that it's always an expression of attention by an individual. So it doesn't exist really as an object of analysis outside of that manifestation. And so a lot of the confusion that arises regarding cognitive functions arises simply from failing to make that distinction. That a function in a vacuum is an object of analysis is, we are limited in what we can understand about it as such because it never exists as such. It always exists as a manifestation of an individual's attention. You need to compare your answers in the more skills-based areas to the answers of other people in typing sessions and evaluate as objectively as you can where your skill test results land on the spectrum of results. Specifically focus on TI if you think you're an INTP and see if you have INTP level TI. If you do, then check to see if you've got INTP level NE. Those are both very testable. So, you should be at least able to narrow it down to, I'm definitely an ENTP or an INTP, or I'm definitely not an ENTP or an INTP. Just with those 2 test areas. And if you're not sure whether your TI is robust enough to qualify as dominant or something, well, that's why you got to look at those other sessions and compare, and answer along with the person and compare. Unfortunately, the sessions aren't very well organized to facilitate you doing that, but that would be what I would suggest if you want an actual practical suggestion. But really, it's like, I'm increasingly struck by how much of the distinction between individual human beings is attributable to the 2 different kinds of knowledge functions, particulars versus universals, and people's relationship with those 2 things. There's a lot of potential conflict that arises from those different frames of reference. So the particularists will say, like, hold on, stop imposing your universalities on everything. And or the particularists will say, I'm going to generalize this universality for my particular thing. And other universalist types will be like, hold on, that's not universal, that's just your own personal shit. And so there's a lot of conflict that goes like that. It also manifests in what people expect in discourse from others. Like, do you expect examples, or do you expect people to remember details? Do you expect this to be a detail-focused conversation or not? And depending on where NI and SI are in your stack, you can get wildly different answers to that question. Does Lucy have some of the same young dragon mom vibes in which Jeffrey's mother manifests? Same energy, kind of, but a totally different way of pushing this. Jeffrey's mom likes to ignore all the TI shit, whereas Lucy is pushy via TI shit. Alien thinks he lives in a cave because the government keeps him there underneath Area 51 to do studies on him. Does Kitty run away from weed smoke or move into it? Neither. She seems to find it completely unremarkable. I mean, the thing is, this cat was born in bed next to me, and so has been exposed to continual weed smoking more or less since birth. I don't think she thinks anything of it at all. It's just what Eric does. Yeah. He's been pushing. He finally. The only reason we see him around here just recently is because they finally let him get access to the Wi-Fi. They finally told him the Wi-Fi password. It turned out it was password. But with capital P. It's like, that doesn't make it better. Capital P. Top secret installation, huh? Do you know that the federal government is apparently forcing Sasquatches all over the country to live outside in the woods? Whew. Katie's shocked too, you can see. That's her angry face. She's thinking about the injustice being done to those Sasquatches right now. Damn that federal government, she's thinking. Let's go Brandon, that's what she's thinking. Remember that horrible guy, Let's Go Brandon, who came around when Rachel was at the hospital, and what an awful person he was. Yeah. Well, apparently the government sort of put them in a double bind. They forced them to live in the woods, but they've indicated if they let people take any clear shots of them with a camera, that they'll be fined up to $250,000 per photo. So that's why they do such a good job of hiding, I guess. But it really seems to just sort of put all the onus on the Sasquatches. It's not very fair. And, you know, Sasquatches, your average Sasquatch lives on the forest equivalent of just $3 a day. So how they're going to gather together 250 grand to pay that fine, I do not know. It needs to be blurry, shaky, and continually shifting zoom level. That's how you know you've seen a Sasquatch. The thing is, if you want to know if there are any Sasquatches near you, you have to make Sasquatch noises, okay? That includes the so-called tree knock, where you knock two pieces of wood together, and then you listen. And if you hear a tree knock back, that means that there's a Sasquatch over there. You can also try to make a Sasquatch call. It sounds kind of like this. And then you listen. And if you hear a Sasquatch call back, well, if you can keep tricking them into thinking you're a Sasquatch long enough, you may enjoy a rarely seen Sasquatch mating ritual. You may be on the receiving end of a Sasquatch mating. And that would be a real encounter with a Sasquatch you could write home about. Most people who encounter Sasquatches, as far as I know, 0% of people who've encountered Sasquatches have been sexually assaulted by the Sasquatches. But that doesn't mean it won't ever happen. They seem a little rapey. Sasquatches do. supposedly they can hide in the trees. You know, they sort of blend into a tree like some sort of magical forest creature. And get their power from the trees. They build various structures in the forest and such. No, I'm talking about Sasquatches, also known as Big Feet or Bigfoots. Well, I mean, yeah, you just need to. Don't. I mean, the thing is, there's only certain kinds of questions that you can meaningfully use what I'm talking about. The TI questions or any questions you can meaningfully compare your answers to. Other kind of questions you're not going to necessarily know what I'm looking for, or if I'm even looking for anything, or what the results mean. Sometimes I don't know what I'm looking for, and I'm just sort of groping around. Sasquatches are not real? Is that what you're saying? Okay, if Sasquatches are not real, then why are there so many Bigfoots? What about all the Bigfoots? And if Bigfoots aren't real, then why are there so many Sasquatches? By the way, Eric. By the way, what? By the way, what? By the way, Delilah got her sky shard. Did you see? Were you there for the excitement? She got it. It's called Sky Shard 101. If there is an example of P such that it has the attribute X, and if the attribute X, then Y, do we know anything about P with the attribute Y? Well, it's not clear really in that construction. You'd need to have an E in parentheses before the X, in which case, and then an E in parentheses before the Y, in which case we would be able to conclude P parentheses X parentheses and parentheses Y parentheses. Because what you're talking about there is quantification theory. When you include that P parentheses little X like that, that's when you start getting into quantification theory. So it's basically saying if there exists an instance of P such that it has the attribute X, so then you need to establish that not just the attribute X, but that for everything that has the attribute X, it is also the case that that thing has the attribute Y or something like this. For all X, P, X, X, if X then Y, can we say something P, Y? That's if then. Alien 60. For all X where X is a member of the set P, and such that if X then Y, then yeah, I mean, then you'd be able to say for all XP, then P X and Y. I think yes as well. I'm sorry, kitty. Forgot you were there. So I would say yeah. Okay, I think I'm going to wrap this up. It's 5:53 in the morning. I stayed up all night. I wasn't planning on doing that, but I did. I think I might have something on the calendar for today. I should check that. Let's see. No. In that instance, you should read it for all X. X is a set of it is the case for all X that if P has the attribute X, then and it is the case for all X that P has the attribute X, and if X then Y. So I would say it is the case for all X that P has the attribute X and Y, which seems the logical thing to conclude. Okay, what am I doing? Checking my calendar. There's only 2 rules of inference you need to add. 2, maybe 4, for quantification. Universal existentiality, universal instantiation. I don't remember what they all are. Alright. X has the attribute P. Let me think. No, I think it's backwards. I don't think that's right. I could be wrong, Rain, but I think like if it were to say for all apples, it is the case that apples are red, and for all red things, it is then green things. Then you'd have to say it is the case that for all apples are red and green. So, in that case, what you would say is the X is the attribute and the P is the set. I might have it backwards, but you might be right here, Rain. I'm not sure about this because it's been a long time since I've taught logic, and I didn't. I don't remember quantification theory as well as I remember the rest of the stuff. It was at the very end of the semester that we got to it, So we only got to it when the class went fast. With slow classes, I never even got to it. I only taught it a few times. So yeah, I might have it backwards. Okay, so maybe I'll refresh my memory and make a video about quantification. Other logic stuff, who knows. Alright, thanks a lot for being here. See you all later.